Hello! So today I'm going to do my very first 2021 prediction video. Like, one of those official prediction videos. This is how I feel about 2021. So, all through 2020, I kept saying that, this year, as far as the tarot goes, is the Crashing Towers card. Everything that is happening is just bringing about all of the, fragile and unjust systems down, bringing down any kind of false senses of security or, corruption, deceit, perversion of the good. All of those towers were coming just crashing down in 2021. And it was chaotic for sure. But then it was like, there's this period where all of the rubble has to be cleaned away. And we're all just kind of gradually doing that with our little push brooms and assembly lines of people, just moving all of the rubble and going through it and being like, okay, what is beyond repair? What do I even not want to carry with me anymore? And what do we want to keep? What do we want to keep and what do we want to repurpose? So even though, 2020 was really, really scary and really, really jolting and really, really thrust upon us, it was actually really good because it cleared the ground for everybody to have one big giant reset and fresh start and new beginnings. Like, so many people really, were either forced to or maybe had the opportunity to re-examine how they were living, what they were doing, what their passions were. Maybe they were over one thing or that thing wasn't available to be anymore and they had to figure out something new for themselves. So it turned into a huge moment of death, void, uncertainty, and then resurrection and rebirth and reinvention. And so I think we're in one of those between realms right now, in an interlude. And it feels like everything, all of our cells and pieces and parts are just being pulled apart on a cellular quantum level and cleaned out, and then they're going to be, reassembled. Yeah, it's like when growth needs to come, chaos precedes creation. In the macrocosm of the greater realm of reality, outside of our physical universe, on the edge of existence, there's this realm that is just void and unbeing and chaos. And it's like this sort of limitless energy and light, if you will. And so this is the unmanifest realm of chaos and void. And so how that is reflected in our life, because that's where all existence comes from. That's where, when we look at it from scientific terminology, the singularity from the Big Bang. But it's all of the creational life force energy that came through that moment from that primordial point creates this one. So potential for physical manifestation in the realm that we live in the universe, came through void and chaos. Potential is the energy of chaos. Chaos is the energy of unharnessed, unformed, undisciplined potential. It's just there's so much energy built up and exploding, but there's no structure to put that light into, put that energy into, channel it through. So it's just going berserk everywhere. Think of a young pubescent boy, or when you split an atom open and it no longer has its structure, when that energy is released without form, the kind of chaos that we're talking about. So all of life and reality comes from chaos being harnessed and formed and structured into systems, shapes, building blocks, cells, atoms. So out of that chaos comes form. And on like a day-to-day life thing for us, that means that when we are trying really hard, but yet we find ourselves in these moments of chaos and uncertainty, it's getting comfortable in those moments where we kind of can like tap into that raw potential and take that momentum and that force and then let it work its way, you know, through our consciousness and find form and development and ideas. And so new things become birthed from that. That's how we realize our potential. It's like when we lean into the uncertainty and the chaos, and even though it is scary, we tap into that guidance, that voice, that instinct within that kind of points out that next step, and we do it. And so we begin to manifest a new life. We begin to harness that potential and create form with it. So 2020 was about clearing the ground to build new things. 2021, I always felt was going to move very, very fast and very rapidly. And I thought big change could happen, but I was surprised in 2020 to see that it seemed like even with everything happening, people were still like very slow to be like affected or changed. You know, it seemed like it took a while for the masses. I mean, a lot of people did. A lot of people woke up and were like, oh my God. But there were still a lot of people out there where the rest of us are just like, what is it gonna take? Like, why can't we just get together? Like, it's just like, what the fuck, you know? So yeah, so like people that won't wear a mask, it's like, but you know, just do it. Like, oh my God, you know, none of us said that the pandemic was going to be easy or pleasant. Like, the whole point of it is that it's like really unpleasant and difficult. You know, that's what made the other many pandemics and plagues so historically remembered and significant, because they were difficult. Nobody said it was going to be easy, but nevertheless, so we can at least just gasp through our masks. It's a kind act to take care of others as well as ourselves. So just, okay, moving on. Sorry, rant over. Where was I? So 2021, you know, I wasn't overly optimistic about how fast things could change, but I felt like major things would begin to shift. And I felt like everything had been cleared out of the way, you know, during 2020 so that we could rebuild our systems and infrastructures like in a more sustainable and more humane way that is really going to start building up like this harmonious development of humanity rather than the suppression of it. I felt there was going to be like a real shift that was going to happen there. Almost like the flick of a switch, but I just didn't think that we would see the change very quickly. Well, I've been listening to NPR a lot lately, and I've heard so many interviews with these like government organizational leaders who have literally said the words like, yes, 2020 just, I mean, by then all of our infrastructures had just been broken down completely. We are starting from scratch, but this time we are going to be more sustainable and more humane. And it's like this like ongoing theme, and I'm like, nailed it. It's totally, that's where we're going. We're moving forward, but it's just like, you know, brand new, fresh, raw infrastructure. It's like, imagine, you know, developing a remote area. You're going to have these like muddy, gravelly dirt roads, you know, bad weather's going to make it really difficult. Like, you know, it's just going to be challenging with obstacles, right? It's raw. So yeah, so in our own personal lives, we also have this capacity to start rebuilding like faster and better than things were, and at a surprising rate of efficiency if we can, you know, think it through and feel it through and really tap into alignment and flow and ride that wave. But like a wave, it's like because things are moving so much faster, the gap from when we've learned and sort of like found our footing again has become shorter. So we might still be being hit with like these challenges and unexpected situations and even sometimes chaos, and be like, oh my gosh, like I thought I was growing past like all of this happening over and over again. But really it's not as bad as it looks, because what it means is that you have gone from stagnancy to an inciting incident that disturbs the status quo and maybe causing challenges and issues, and then you have to meet those and, you know, kind of find your stability again, find your footing, and you catch your breath, and then the universe is like, all right, again. And it's like trying to surf these big waves, you know, and maybe you're like just kind of getting the skills enough to even get out there. So, and you're just being hit wave after wave, you know, before you can get out past the I don't know what they call it, the line where everything's, you know, breaking and crashing. So it might feel like you're getting beat up, but it's actually meaning that you're going forward and that you're making forward progress. If someone wasn't growing or making forward progress, I feel like it might feel like things are going a little bit slower for them. Like they might even be a little bit more stable for longer. So just don't feel discouraged if you feel like things keep happening that are causing difficulties. It's not like, don't feel like it's your fault that you're not growing fast enough. Like you are, if you're trying and you're sincere, you're meeting life, doing your best. Like don't just show up and be willing. And that's really just all it takes, is just be willing. And I think that things are going to be unfolding very quickly. And so I think that if you can use the elements at your disposal, and I mean that like in all ways, like your thoughts, feelings, emotions, capability of like doing tasks, fire, water, earth, air, like moon cycles, everything, like use all the tools that you have to your advantage. And I think that manifestation can work very quickly right now. It's just that we need a lot of clarity about what it is that we are wanting to attract, because we can also attract like things that we probably don't want as well if we don't get clarity and we're not specific. So what I've been doing this year for the last few months, actually since like December, is doing new moon manifestation rituals where like I kind of mentally prepare beforehand, and right after the new moon, as soon as I can, I start meditating and visualizing like this vision of me having the manifestation and embodying it already. And I get excited and I get grateful and I just get really like into it, and I just try to think it out, you know, as vividly as I can in the present tense, as if it were already happening. And then I spend some time writing out exactly what I was seeing, and I write it out like a letter, like I'm saying, like in present tense, like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited that this is happening, I'm so grateful that this is happening. And you just write everything that you want to manifest as if it's come already in the greatest fruition, you know, in the greatest form, and you're so excited. But I know I said to be specific, but also be general too, because the less you are attached to the specific form in which the essence of it shows up, the easier it can come. So get really clear about the essence of what you want, but don't make it a specific brand or person, or you know what I mean? Like just be flexible, okay, and open. So then you're gonna write it out. And then you're gonna make a believable affirmation for yourself, some statement that is, like, for instance, I just did this woman, I think her name's Yasmin Bolin, and she has Moonology cards and Moonology book and Moonology manifestation workshops, and I did one recently with her. And I was just like, oh, I didn't, like, it came up in my email, and I was like, you know, I should get back into, like, working and aligning myself with the moon cycles. Like, why am I not doing this? So it was really great to, like, reconnect and start doing all this again. So anyway, so she suggested she gave an example of a really good affirmation that's believable for people who want to attract money and more work. And so it was, I have wonderful work in wonderful ways, giving wonderful service for wonderful pay. And if you can just say that as much as you can think to do it, and remember to do it all through the 2-week waxing cycle after the new moon. And once you get to the full moon, that's when you're gonna do another, like, repeat of the new moon ceremony, and you're going to maybe burn a list that represents all the things that you wanted to manifest because you're letting it go. And during both ceremonies, you're supposed to say, you know, after you've written all your envisioning out, say this or something better, and for the good of all or not at all. And then, you know, say a prayer of gratitude and just that you release it to the will of divine, and, you know, you surrender and you let go. And so then once you get to, and I like to do, sorry, I'm jumping around a lot, but while we're talking about the new moon manifestation ritual, I like to finish it with a bath with Himalayan salt or Dr. Teal's Epsom salt I add some, you know, essential oils. Like, I make a potion mix that I like. You can make your own. I just make it a sacred ritual bath, and I add, like, crystals and stuff like that. And then while I'm in the tub, I get into a state of gratitude, and I envision again, and I might do some chanting and so just some different things to utilize my voice, because when you think something, that is the first, you know, physical level of manifestation. As you grow that vision more specific, it's like evolving, right? And so by the time you can speak it, that's another level of manifesting creation. Writing down is a level of manifesting creation. So the more actions and physical that we can make our manifestation, the more energy and universal force is behind the manifestation. So, you know, use your voice, speak your manifestation, declare out loud, you know, your gratitude in the present tense as if it's already happened. And then take the bath and maybe sleep with some new moon rocks and smoky quartz and some, you know, different good nighttime cleansing and moon rocks. And yeah, so that would be just about all I can think of the major key points of, like, the new, you know, you can add your own things. You can do a vision board. You can draw what you want. Just be thoughtful and specific about it, because you may accidentally draw something that you don't want, you know, whatever. So yeah, so then after the new moon ritual, you're going to take 3 action steps towards your manifestation. And so I think that it's good to just keep it all in a new moon journal and write down, like, hey, these are the action steps I'm going to take, and I have to do them before the full moon. Also, it's nice if you can pull a card or do something, you know, to get a little bit of, like, insight and guidance as to, like, what you should be aware of, or, like, maybe what you should focus on during that new, you know, that waxing cycle, by pulling a tarot card or an oracle card. Or if you have some other form of, you know, divination, maybe, you know, see what it's got to say, some guidance to give you to set out, and then record that in your journal also. And so starting the next day, you have all this waxing energy that is growing with the moon, and, you know, energy behind your manifestation. And if you know what sign the moon was new in, then you can, you know, mix and match the appropriate like if it was a Taurus new moon, you might want, you know, money and prosperity and to beautify your home, or a better job, or something that you want to build long term, you know. Or if it was, you know, just go by the type of sign. Sorry, I'm just in a dreamy mood today. It's snowing out and I'm scattered. Yeah, so during the full moon phase, you're gonna like burn something, take a bath again, burn your list if you want. You can keep your original and you can just make another symbolic, you know, gesture of it, or just maybe just do a meditation about how you release it. And then, so during the waxing phase, you had been repeating your affirmation over and over, and now you're gonna release it. You're gonna stop doing the work. That is the action that you take to show that you have released. So you relax. Let it go. You don't have to think about it or visualize it, you know, and all that stuff anymore. Just let it be. In the meantime, focus on forgiveness work and healing and giving, and just sit back and relax. And so if your manifestation doesn't show up immediately, don't worry. Like, the process is in motion. Sometimes like key elements and pieces have to move into place behind the scenes, and sometimes that takes some time. And it takes some variables. So keep up the optimism, because things can change really quickly this year. And keep your thoughts and your vision stable and focused. Continue to take inspired actions, and continuously check in with yourself and your intuition. Beyond that, take good care of your health. Have good sleeping habits. You know, go to bed early, wake up early. Eat a clean diet, try to get some exercise, really try to prime yourself to be ready and to be the person you need to be to show up for this new change. You know, it's like we need to shake up our routine and start being different just to get out of our old self, our old routine. You know, we need to be a kind of a clean slate, because it's going to be a big fresh start. And keep your vision big, but keep your actions grounded and, you know, reasonable and logical, and don't build your castles in the sky, build them on solid ground. So be taking action along with all the envisioning and all the emotional work that we need to do to prepare ourselves to be in alignment with the awesome things that we're creating, and to get clarity about them. Because if you're anything like me, during this time of chaos and uncertainty and being in the void, you have that reflects in your own life is a lot of uncertainty and feelings of void. Like, I've had so many times recently where I've said, like, I just feel so void today. And I feel like, oh gosh, there's so many things I'm so uncertain about and foggy about. But I think that it's a sign that big growth is happening and sudden change is going to happen. And sometimes the lesson is exactly to become comfortable in the uncertainty and in the unknown and in the fog, and just be okay with that. Be okay, because the void, you know, that's also like what's parallel to the void is the dark womb of creation. And it's very quiet and very still place, and it feels very unformed. You know, we're all in a very early stage of reformation, and it's crazy and mixed up. But yeah, just stay calm, keep calm, and carry on, essentially. Yeah, I think I've said enough. I've rambled. I'm hoping that something was coherent in this. If not, we've passed some time together. May every moment be graced with light, love, and magic. Peace.